So when we believe the gospel, people want to say, people are, people want to say, does that mean that we can just go roll around in sin? Yeah. Yes, you can. You honestly can. Is it good for you? No. But can you? Yeah. They hate the liberty. They hate the freedom. They hate the grace of God. They hate His mercy for people who don't even get right. As if they got right. The prodigal son, he was always a son. He went and spent his inheritance on riotous living, all kinds of crazy stuff, partying. So don't talk to me about counterfeit Christians. As if God ever made a counterfeit something. As if the faith that we've received was a cheap thing. No. Your faith is more precious than gold. Even a simple faith. Even a weak faith. Even a faith that gets you out of Egypt, but doesn't get Egypt out of you. You're still struggling over leeks and onions. Even for the people who want to complain. And the truth is the real complainers that God is disciplining are the people who are complaining about having to leave Egypt. It's not about it's not about the it's not about the desires. It's about the fact that they don't see what God has done for them. It's really about the fact that they don't recognize the salvation and they don't recognize others. I don't want to go into that too much. The prodigal son. The prodigal son went off and spent his time partying and spending his inheritance. And then he came to his senses. He came to his senses. And these Pharisees, they don't want people to come to their senses. They want to keep them spinning in the pig pen, and they don't want to point anybody to the Father's house. They don't want to point anybody to Jesus. That's why they spend all their time talking about sin and law and this idea of discipleship being pick up your cross because you can't stay in the pig pen. You can't stay. That didn't help anybody. They didn't get anybody out of the pig pen. The prodigal son comes to his senses when he looks at his identity. I can go back to it's his father's house. I can go back to my father's house. I'm not worthy. Maybe I can be a slave. Maybe I can be a servant, but it's got to be better than this. But they don't want him to come to his senses. They just want to say, you can't you can't roll around in sin and be a real believer. No, you can. You sure can. The prodigal son came to his senses and he came back home. And the older brother, first thing he says, when there's joy over this pig stinking son, this squanderer, when he comes back, the first thing the older brother says, "Where's my fatted calf?" Now, why would he say that? Because he didn't want to eat the food. He didn't want he didn't want to enjoy the food. He wasn't eating. He wants a fatted calf for him and his friends. He didn't want to eat. He didn't want to eat. And it's the same feast for all of us. We enjoy the mercy and the grace that while we were pigpen, rolling in the pigpen, God ran out to us when we came to our senses, when we saw Jesus, when we understood what had been done on that cross. We were met with joy. But the older brother has no joy. There's no joy there. It's all about, I've done this. He didn't want to eat. He didn't want to enjoy the party. I guess that's it. If somebody can't eat the same food and just enjoy the fact that we've all been in the pig pen, what are you doing? That's what it is to really hate your brother. You're walking in darkness. He who hates his brother walks in darkness. You can't sit down at the table. You can't sit down and say, my brother was dead, but now he's alive. Because he was rolling in the pig slop? There are people who will not let other people come to their senses. And when they do come to their senses, they won't eat. They want their own fatted calf. They won't eat of the fatted calf of mercy. They want a fatted calf of merit. We are all prodigal, pig slop rolling, unless you're not really a son. Enjoy the enjoy the fatted calf of mercy. That's Jesus. Jesus is the fatted calf. Jesus is the fatted calf. Enjoy him. Don't look for your own. And if you can't acknowledge that people can roll around in the pig slop and be a son, I don't have fellowship with you. I don't want it. You are the one who doesn't come in and eat. It's not my job to go and get you. I am at the table with the Father, enjoying the fatted calf, Jesus Christ. And you should come to your senses and realize you're in the pig slop just like everybody else, even if you're a son. Jesus is our feast today. We can enjoy him today, feast today. And the Father, he's so happy to have us. Okay, have a good morning.